Hello and hi, my name is Oliver Lesna Anak Stanley. We from Group 3 from MBA 1193A. We want to present about inflation and employment in India. First, we go for the introduction, which is the background of the country. India is the nation in the South Asia formerly known as the Republic of India Hindi. It is the most populous democracy and the second most populous nation by the area. It also the 7th largest nation by the overall. India is the second most populous country in the world with a 6th place of the world population. According to the official estimate, India population stood at 1.41 billion in 2022 and increased by 0.68% from 2021. The population is still growing but now it is more slowly. The India economy was normally valued at 3.18 trillion in 2021, making it the second largest by the market exchange rate and the third largest by the purchasing power of parity, according to the International Monetary Fund, which is IMF. What is inflation? Inflation is a persistent and ongoing rise in the overall or average price level of goods and service in a company. A rise in the cost of the living that result is decreased purchasing power is implied by the term inflation. There is too much money chasing to the little products in this situation. Thus, there is a negative correlation between inflation and the purchasing power of the money. Money will have less purchasing power when the inflation is high. So, the currency will lose the value due to the inflation since today customer dollars do have not the same purchasing power as they did yesterday. Next, we go for the analysis trend. Based on the data, the trend of the inflation in India from 2012 to 2021 has been generally moderate, with an average annual rate of around 5 to 6%. However, they have some fluctuation over this period. In 2012, the inflation rate is 9.48%. However, it began to rise in 2013, reaching a peak around 10% in late of that year, before gradually falling back to around 6% in 2014. But in 2015 to 2019, the inflation rate relatively stable at around 3 to 5%. And also the inflation has increased to 6.62% in 2020 and falling back to 5.13 in 2021.
My name is Muhammad Kudus bin Muhammad Awang. I will continue for the issue and cause of inflation. In this part, we have 3 issues. First, optimal inflation rate, which is certain issue with the elaborate inflation rate measurement arise while choosing it. And measuring bias frequently determined on inflation rate that is comparatively higher than the actual. Second, it frequently becomes a challenge to record product quality improvement, which has an impact on the price index. Second point is money supply and inflation. Positive quantitative increase money supply and economy as a result of easing by central bank frequently aids in rising or moderating inflationary target. A conundrum has developed between low inflation and rapid money supply increase. Third, global trade. Commodities trade internationally and the Reserve Bank of India (RBI) numerous attempts to weaken the rupee against the dollar are 2 factors that frequently cause inflation in India. 2 factors that frequently cause inflation in India. The RBI provide a significant infusion of the dollar into the economy to make it highly liquid when the US currency dropped by a margin of 3%. Next, we go to the cause of inflation. In this part, we have 3 causes. First, demand pull inflation. Demand pull inflation is a type of inflation that occurs when there is an increase in aggregate demand and the supply remains the same or decrease. For example, India has a large and growing population, and rising income has led to an increase in demand for goods and services, which has put pressure on price. Second is monetary inflation. Monetary inflation is a sustained increase in the money supply of a country, resulting in price inflation. For example, the Central Bank of India, the Reserve Bank of India (RBI) use monetary policy tools such as interest rate to try to control inflation. If the RBI raise interest rate, it can help to reduce inflation by making borrowing more expensive and slowing down economic activity. However, high interest rate can also have negative impact on economic growth. Third is cost-push inflation. Cost-push inflation happens when a lack labor, a scarcity of raw material, crop failure, or lack of capital drive up manufacturing costs and reduce aggregate supply, thereby rising the price level. There are many examples such as India is a major producer of food grain, but it also imports a significant amount of food. Fluctuation in global food price can have a major impact on food price in India.
Okay, next we go to another one, which is what is unemployment and data analysis. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Nur Syahira binti Sulaiman. What is unemployment? The term unemployment refers to a situation where a person actively searches for employment but is unable to find work. There are a number of reasons for unemployment, including recession, depression, technological improvement, and job outsourcing. Unemployment is considered to be a key measure of the health of the economy. Next is data and analysis. From the table and graph above, we can analyze that the unemployment rate in India is calculated by personally interviewing a large sample of randomly selected homes. Over 174,405 families are represented in the Center for Monitoring India Economic Consumer Pyramid panel, with above 52200 members over the age of 15. In 2012, the unemployment rate was 5.414%, which is lower than in 2013. From 2014 until 2021, the unemployment rate will be constant, which is 5.436%. The unemployment rate in India is not decreasing but keep rising and staying at that rate for a long time. In conclusion, during the year 2014, the rate of unemployment rose and stayed constant until 2021. The unemployment rate occurred because of a shortage of capital equipment in the root cause of the slowing economy and rising unemployment rates.
My name is Nisha Rozana binti Maiser. I would like to discuss issue about unemployment. Firstly, population growth. Swiftness growth of the population has always been categorized as the major issue of increasing unemployment in the country. In India, population growth is rising daily. Both youth employment and unemployment are high in India. Approximately 68.8% come from rural areas. Secondly, economic growth without sufficient chances. According to a study done among a sample of 1,072 enterprises from around the country and across various sectors, in comparison to the 188,371 employment generated in the year 2013 until 2014, just 12,760 jobs were created in the financial year 2014 until 2015. Thirdly, drawback of agriculture infrastructure. People working in the agriculture sector are only hired for a specific amount of time and are unable to obtain employment for the rest of the year. Furthermore, the seasonal nature of this sector's employment creates repeating cycles of unemployment for the rural people. And lastly, inadequate employment planning. In comparison to population increase, the government's employment planning is insufficient. For example, every year, over 2 lakh individuals are added to India's existing population. However, work opportunities did not rise in proportion to population growth. As a result, there is a significant disparity between job opportunities and population increase.
Firstly is seasonal unemployment. Seasonal unemployment happens when people are unemployed during specific times of the year when labor demand is lower than usual. For example, agriculture is the most often practiced occupation in India. Agriculture in India is primarily dependent on monsoons. Hence, agricultural labor remains idle throughout the non-monsoon season. Seasonal unemployment in India, as the name implies, is mostly driven by seasonal changes. Another type of unemployment that occurs to some extent in developing and expanding economies is structural unemployment. Structural unemployment arises when people are looking for work but are unable to find one because they lack the necessary skills, or because the number of jobs available in an economy is less than the number of persons looking for one. Example of structural unemployment could be in the fruit picking market. Fruit pickers will be replaced by new robots that can pick the fruits. They lack the expertise required to keep an eye on the robots and contribute to improving their algorithm. They will consequently be unemployed. A farm robotic device called G-RobotMac will assist farmers reduce the risk associated with peak labor demand while greatly increasing the productivity of farm labor. Thirdly is frictional unemployment. Refers to short-term or temporary unemployment occurs when people look for jobs or quit their current occupation, whether voluntary or because they were fired. The overall labour participation rate decreases from 46% to 40% between 2017 and 2022, according to the Centre for Monetary Union Economics (CMIE). Even more startling statistic applies to women. 900 million Indians who are currently of legal working age, more than half do not desire a job. Lastly is cyclical unemployment. Demand deficient unemployment is another name for cyclical unemployment. Is a recession or economic cycle downturn, there is a shortage of demand, which results in this kind of unemployment. For instance, during the Great Depression, the unemployment rate peaked at 25%. That means that 1 in 4 people are willing and able to work yet are unable to do so. The majority of this unemployment is thought to be cyclical in nature. After some time, the unemployment rate began to decline once more.